What's up YouTube, it's Dual Killing Anime coming at you with another video, and this video is going to be about One Piece, a One Piece discussion video. The One Piece discussion video is going to talk about father figures in the series of One Piece, and if you don't know what this means by father figures, then father figures as an aspects to what types of men have influenced the characters, preferably of the Straw Hat crew, in retrospective of the series. And I'll bring up the concept of the father figure, or the mentor to student, or the mentor to mentee in any type of anime and manga, but just specifically to One Piece. Notice this in One Piece because a lot of times there's themes, and these themes usually come from backstories where arc will be dedicated into bringing in a new character, resolving around a mentor or a father figure or a father or someone that you look high up to for guidance. As you can see with Monkey D. Luffy, his obvious quote-unquote father figure is Shanks, red-haired Shanks, because during the Shanks or the red-haired pirates' tenure at Luffy's hometown, their one-year tenure, obviously Luffy grew a relationship with Shanks at that time, and he was the biggest influence onto Monkey D. Luffy wanting to become a pirate and king of the pirates and finding the One Piece and gaining the fame and glory that he wants. Also, you can see with Usopp, he has some different alien moments with his father. And when I say different alien moments, he has no deep moments in the series so far with his father. You see, with his father went out with red-haired Shanks' crew, and he left him at a very young age to become a pirate. That underlying theme in the story that I'll go back to later on when I'm done covering all the other types of father figures could cover something underlying with the author Ichiro Oda, or just the theme, one of the themes of One Piece, trying to cover the scope of father figures. Also, from Sanji's retrospective, his backstory when he was first introduced to the story in the Barity arc, we got a lot of backstory upon Sanji and Redfoot Zepp / owner Zepp's initial meeting, and how Sanji owes his life and feels very dedicated to Zepp for what he did in saving his life, and for him to be able to live a better life. That type of father figure, if you don't remember, before Sanji was leaving the Barity to join Luffy's crew, Sanji was, that was one of the only times that Sanji was truly in an emotional wreck, when he said goodbye to Zeff, because he even said, and I quote, he owes his life to him, and he thanks him for so much, for saving his life, for sacrificing himself for him, his foot for him. And even that, he still began to learn and get taught a lot more things from Zeff, from his experiences while he was on the Barity restaurant. Right now, you can turn over to Chopper. Tony Chopper, the most prevalent example I could use in this discussion. Tony Chopper has a father, obviously, Dr. Hero Look. Dr. Hero Look was called a quack doctor by that other old ass male doctor who lives for like 120 years, but she lives good. But Dr. Hero Look has a very heavy impact on how Tony Chopper's character plays into the Straw Hat crew, and very much develops him well to a point that he can effectively join the crew and be ushered in properly, even though this takes a while for Nico Robin to do further on in the CP9 arc. Nico Robin, I'd say she has somewhat of a father figure role when it comes into retrospective, or even just meeting men who do things for them, like father-like things, like Jagger D. Saul. We got to see a little bit of him, but just thanks to a little bit of compassion towards Nico Robin, and actually giving her lessons and actually converting her like father figures would do, she's gained that type of mentality to look up to him. And it could be to Admiral Aokiji to a lesser extent, because Admiral Aokiji has been, you can say, quote unquote, the shield over her, or has been watching over her, had been portraying her actions for a very long time, and even given the opportunity to escape from the island, because he grasped the situation from that point and made that decision. Alright? Even Frankie's another good opinion, another good example for it too. Frankie's relationship with Tom-san initially, he's very hard. He comes off as a very difficult and very violent boy when he comes from his pirate crew. And his pirate crew, his dad was the captain of a pirate crew, and he didn't want him, so he just dumped him out. And eventually, as Tom-san adopted him as his son, he began to develop a very keen relationship with him. And even up to the moments of Tom-san's death, he still holds what he says to be true, and he conveys his feelings and emotions, his aspirations to his creating and his making of the Thousand Sunny ship. And I think that's very potent in the series of One Piece. Now that I think I've covered that, you think of present time during the Punk Hazard arc, when a character like Kinemon is going so much to look for his son, Watsume, and you think about it, as in retrospect of that, the series of One Piece has really clarified on a lot of big figures affecting younger and important figures in the series. And it's very interesting to me because he's taken this route to effectively gain characterization or initial backstory with characterization by gaining figures, by applying figures to other people, so you can see their development and their change because of these people. I see this method a lot with other series, when you could see it with Master Roshi / Goku's grandpa towards Goku in Dragon Ball Z. You could also see it with like Master Sensei relationships, where Jiraiya heavily affected the actions of Naruto in the series of Naruto, and Naruto was affected, of course, somewhat by his father during his talk when he invested his jutsu in him after the 8th Gates was coming close to release the 9th Gates in the Pain vs. Naruto arc, Pain vs. Naruto battle, excuse me. But also you can see that in any other types of anime and manga. Even the relationship with Raizen and Yusuke in Yu Yu Hakusho, when Yusuke tries to get that feeling of a father figure through Raizen's actions and going in to train him and trying to get him to have the strength to defeat him, to carry on his will, so to speak, in the demon world, and then be able to, for Yusuke to grow up and really mature as a man and find his own way by meeting his father. Okay, as father figures come in anime / manga, and specifically in One Piece, I think it's a good element to be able to give your characters better characterization, whether you want to do it further in the run like Hakusho did, or if you want to do it initially for good backstory. It very much gives great characterization towards characters who you plan to be there in a Father Much series. So for a mangaka who does that, or for any types of series that involves / mentor male / father-like figures, I like that recipe. I think it is good. I don't want it to be oversaturated, okay? But I want it to a point where I can enjoy it and it's not being done the same way. And a lot of similar ways that I've seen it done is that these father figures would come and they would do something like risky to save them, and then they would establish a relationship, and then they would just go. Like how we get in One Piece with Shanks. He, saves his ass, takes off his arm, he goes. Then Zeph, he saves his ass. He's at the Barity, but Shandy goes. I mean, as soon as they're introduced, they leave, and they have no other prevalence to the story. That's what I'm initially saying. I think more of it, if those father figures had much more prevalence to the story, then it'd be more effective characterization towards the characters they're supposed to be affecting. Alright? That's my point. That's all I wanted to make in this video. Father figures are important in anime / manga, in One Piece specifically, and father figures just anywhere in life are important. These African Americans out here just acting thugs. 57% of them don't have father figures. Nah, but father figures, that's really important. And I just wanted to get that out there. Put the comments down below if you think father figures in life, anime / manga, are significant to the story and significant to development as people in real life or as characters in a story. Alright, dislike this video, I really don't care as long as you get my name out there. This has been Dual Killing Anime, all the quality with none of the filler. And if you don't know what that is, then you need to watch more anime. Alright guys, I see you. Peace. Yeah.